So let's begin. Okay, everybody. Hello, it's Claire here, and I have the wonderful Kris Meredith with me here. I'm just turning my phone down because I invited Kris on because basically, you know, when you find another person who is carrying the light in the world, and I chatted to Kris the other day. He was kind enough to have me on his lovely Keep It Spiritual YouTube channel and podcast. And Kris is also a Sky psychic. Was it Psychic Today? TV.
It is.
Okay, Psychic Today TV presenter. Sorry, I should be more glued up. I just suddenly thought, oh God, yeah. He's a TV presenter on Psychic Today on Sky. So how cool is that? So I feel really, really, really honoured to have Kris with me. But basically, I was on his show the other day, and I just recognised in you, Kris, absolutely, that you are a light worker, doing it in your way, taking the truth out there, down to earth, genuine. You know, can I big you up anymore? I don't know, but I'm going to try to, because I just want my audience to know, when you meet somebody that you know is honest, genuine in the spiritual movement, and when you can recognise that somebody has a passion, you're young. I just wanted to get you out there in front of people so that they know that your wonderful work is out there. So that's why you're here today. I'm just saying hello to everybody. I can see a whole load of people, Kris, saying hi. So I'm just saying Lorna, hi, Rosa, Anne-Marie, Crystal, Sharon. There's loads of you I've seen. There's Kathy Mingo there. Loads of you all saying hi. So we've got a nice audience building up as well, Kris, which is wonderful.
Love it. Got to say hello to everyone as well. And of course, you know, Claire, for yourself, thank you so much for having me, you know, on your Facebook page. And that first kind of interview when we both met, it was just like a clash of light. It really was. And that's all I can say. It really, really was, because, you know, you meet many people, but of course, you know, everything that's going on right now, our interview together, you know, I just needed that upliftment right there and then. And for us, it's just kind of sparked something even better than just one interview, which I just absolutely love.
Exactly. You know, it's a soul connection, isn't it? It's when you suddenly realize this person is on the same trajectory. I can't even say it. Trajectory as me. We've got our own ways. We've got, you know, we've got our own, if you like, paths. But we're doing the same thing. We're trying to wake people up ultimately, and through our own learning and development and, you know, just experiences. And you've had some pretty cool ones, which I'm going to get you to have a chat about, because I like hearing about them. You know, we can help other people find their way to that light. I love that clash of light. I'm going to steal it.
Steal away. But that's what it's about, though. And I think, you know, if you know things, you don't know things. And, you know, when you meet some people and you're like, wow, how do they know all that kind of stuff? I mean, you know, I'm still kind of learning every single day about awakening, light workers, but you just know in yourself that you're doing the right kind of thing, you know, when it feels good. And it does. But I just always think back to my own kind of path and like early beginnings. And you kind of think, oh yeah, it was there then. And it was there then. But then obviously, like myself, I've gone and done other little things in my life and then come back to it, and then gone and done something else and then come back to it. But it's always been a constant. So, you know, I've always loved to be happy, to make people smile, and always love, you know, uplifting music and things like that. But that's what it's all about, is kind of, you know, having a look at people's light and raising that light for them, because it makes me feel great. Even speaking about it right now, I'm like, it's so good. And even with you as well, you know, it's like we're just sparking, and, you know, and the audience as well that are watching, I mean, I hope they're sparking as well.
I think they're going to be exhausted. I won't be able to stop laughing, I know. Neil's saying, welcome to our spiritual family, Kris. Isn't that lovely?
Oh, thank you very much, Neil. Thank you.
We do have, that's Neil Webb. We do have a really, really lovely community. If you see me looking over here, guys, it's because I'm looking at the phone. So keep clicking the hearts, because I can see you all interacting. Oh, so it's just lovely. And I completely agree with you. Do you know, you've just given one of the best messages that you could have done, and you didn't even realize you did it. Lots of people come to me for readings, obviously, and many people don't know if they're on their life purpose, if they're actually achieving anything, you know, whether they've understood where they're at spiritually even. And I always say to people, if you've got that excitement and that passion that you're talking about, when you're talking about something you love and you're all that excited about it, then you're on the right path, and if it doesn't feel good and if it's not making you excited, at least, I'm not talking about bouncing off the walls all the time, if I
don't recommend that. You get very tired.
I don't really enjoy doing yeah, it's not good for your health, that one. But I do think that, even like when I'm doing my accounts, for instance, I'm not enjoy them. But mostly when you're doing something that you really feel good about, that you're on the right path. And I think many of us don't listen to that gut instinct, do they? Because more people would feel more joyful about life.
It's a hard question, though. I mean, for me personally, and I know for many people out there, that question, what are you meant to do here on earth, I think is the biggest question for me as well. Because when you're growing up and, you've got your family around you and, they're saying, go and do this, go and do that, go and earn money, go and get a job. And you've got this little kind of feeling in you, kind of like, no, actually, no, I want to do this. But sometimes, you can't follow that because, we've got bills and all that kind of thing to pay. So it's difficult at times to really follow it. But for me personally, that question is, what am I meant to do? Has been a very, very big question in my life. And it still is. I'm still kind of going with it and following it, and trusting what may be within that. But I'm sure for many people out there, that will be a big question for them as well.
Well, I know it will. And if you're a truth seeker, which many people are, obviously our community are, you're driven from the soul, aren't you? You're driven from something deeper within you to satisfy. So, life needs to have a bit of meaning. You need to have purpose and fulfillment, don't you? So you're not alone. And everybody has, I know, thought about that. I feel myself, I can't imagine, because I know I'm living my passion and I've got a mission and I've got an idea about what I want to do and get out in the world. I can't imagine not having that. I would feel lost. So I think we weren't obviously going to talk in this way. That's not what I had in mind. But, spirit, I think, just have a way of channeling through us. Because I actually think, especially right now, though, Kris, when you think about it, everyone's in isolation. Some people are, unfortunately, a lot of people are losing jobs, we're all sort of kind of questioning, where are we going? What's this all about? Why have we got to suffer this way? What's the purpose behind all of this? It sounds really heavy, but this is kind of where we're at. Life is forcing us into a corner almost, isn't it? To look at ourselves and think, am I doing what I want to do? And am I happy?
And that's it. And I think that, right there is, a big question. Yes, things, can get heavy. I mean, for myself, I don't really watch the news anymore because I just don't want that. I'm kind of, going inwards, which for me has been, I've read books. I've read your book. That's how we got in contact with each other, which is fabulous. But, people do have the opportunity, right now, especially, light workers, the spiritual community, if they've never been able to, develop, have the time because they've been busy with outside work, family, whatever, like now is the perfect time to, light that light again and just see where it goes without any pressure. I think that's, for me, like it's been a real guiding light throughout this time to not really get weighed down by, all the naysayers and negative Nancy's out there. It's kind of just for me to kind of think, no, this is a time for me to hit that reset button, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Think, I want to do it and I'm going to do it.
That's it, readdress the balance, isn't it? And basically bring things in that you haven't been able to because you've been so distracted by everyday life and caught up in the material world. And I actually believe, I'm just looking at the comments coming in, just checking if people are asking questions. Keep it simple. Love is all you need, is what's being said to me. That is very true, isn't it?
That's very, very true. That's beautiful as well.
Yeah, that's Jill Hackey. I can see saying that. I can see that, at the end of the day, we can be bringing into our life now things that where we have been really distracted, where we've kind of lost our way. We can actually now bring spirituality in, because I feel that coronavirus, one of the biggest battles of it isn't just the virus. I think it's a spiritual crisis, actually, because for one, I think people are much more fearful of death. I mean, people are always fearful of death, but look at the fear that's out there right now around dying and not wanting to go out and, worrying about if you're going to make people ill. And and then anxiety about work and all of that. You know, just it is a spiritual crisis, but that can be a really good thing because it is driving you in yourself, isn't it? To like look at yourself. So
it is, and I think, you know, that is important. And even you think, you know, when I go and take my dog out, when I take Bert out, and you know, when people stand away from you, it still takes me a little bit now. Like, why do they stand? Oh, the social distancing. That's why they're standing away. Where, like, I love people. I've been close to people, hugging people, all that kind of stuff. Of course, you know, we can't do that kind of stuff right now. So it's been, you know, to adapt as well, really, myself personally, to kind of to deal with this situation. But that's why, you know, this spiritual work for myself and working on myself, it's kind of really helped me get through. So I really hope it has to many other people. And even, you know, what you say, Claire, as well, you know, from your book, from your Facebook lives, everything you do, you know, it's those little helpers that are helping the rest of us, you know, on our way, which I love.
And I think that's why this is why I wanted to have this conversation, because I know that just from wherever it goes, someone out there is watching and going to be either uplifted or going through the same thing, or, you know, experience the same, you know. And I think you just hit the nail on the head. You know, we are feeling completely disconnected. Do you know, last night I had a astral dream that I know was very vivid. So I don't believe it was a dream. I believe I was in the astral planes.
Yeah.
And I was really upset because I was aware of the fact that in source we're all one, we're connected as one. And in the spirit dimensions, if you like, to me the spirit dimensions are the realms of consciousness, the astral. You kind of come away from that source a little bit. You've got your own identity. You're still a spirit being. But you're connected. You can feel other spirit beings, you know, instantly how they're feeling. There's a connection. And then we come into the physical world and we are separated because our physical body separates us. And the way that we still feel that connection to home, to source, to spirit, if you like, is because we can enjoy loving relationships with people. We hug. We, you know, especially spiritual people, just that, like you're saying, that people contact and feeling the soul of another and the energy of another. And that, I hate that feeling of being it's been like we've become even more isolated. It's almost like, I mean, it's almost like the dark side's creeping in because we're becoming much more isolated. People are worried about you know, being in contact with each other, and, you know, like you say, everyone's just double checking themselves a little bit if they're outside. And it's almost like you got the lurgy. But even if you haven't, you know, it's you.
But you have. It doesn't matter if you have or you haven't. People are still the same. Because I want to be like, I've not got it. I'm all right. You know. But it doesn't matter. That it's that fear. It's a barrier. And I think, you know, people had different barriers before. You know, the phones, they're too busy, the work. But now, you know, that's right in front of us straight away, and we don't even know the people, but they don't want to be near you anyway.
It's so true. And I'm actually now with strangers going, but come on, can I just have a conversation? I don't care who you are. I haven't spoken to anyone else outside my family for the last 8 weeks. Can we just say hi?
How about anything? How about the weather? We don't mind anymore. We'll talk about the weather all day.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen, my mum's joined us because she's saying our natural instincts in times of trouble is to turn to our family for support, and we can't right now. We can't have hugs. Susanna Carter's saying it's so hard to get used to. I can't see who that is, but I can see a comment saying I'm a tactile person and always have been, and they're finding it just as difficult as we are. You see, this is what I mean, having these, this is spirituality, that connection, that love, isn't it? You know,
it is. It's a lot.
We're covering the deep stuff, aren't we?
We went straight into it, didn't we?
Let's put the worlds to it. Let's sort the universe out, shall we?
It's what Claire Broad's all about.
Absolutely. But talking about that, actually, I was going to ask you, that takes me back. You know, you were saying earlier about how you came into spirituality and then you left it and then you came in. What experiences were you having then that made you come?
I mean, for me, I mean, straight away, I mean, I kind of went to the Spiritualist Church by myself. I don't know how I knew about the Spiritualist Church. I come from a place called Tameside, which is in Greater Manchester. And I just knew there was a Spiritualist Church in Denton and I wanted to go. I had no one to go with and I didn't want to go by myself. So my cousin, Haley, she was like, well, you know, have you researched it? Do you know what it's all about? And I didn't really. I was just like, yeah. I just wanted to go. I just knew that I had to go. And she took me. And I went and I was just like, wow, this is like how I didn't even know what it was, because there was no one then that I knew in my family, obviously until later on, that had anything to do with the Spiritualist Church or anything like that. But I was just so overwhelmed in a good way, in a positive way, that people could speak to the dead, you know, and comfort people. And I was just like, this is amazing. So I just started going to the music and meditation that used to be on a Friday night. So everyone else, when they were 16, were going out drinking, doing whatever. Then I was going to music and meditation. I was drinking honey and lemon like there's no tomorrow. And then at the time as well, where I was working in a warehouse, one of the worst jobs I've ever had. Not my kind of job. But there was a guy there called Mark, and he was like, oh, you go to a Spiritualist church? I was like, yeah, I'll come with you. So he started coming with me as well. And we just got really kind of regimented with, we'll go to music and meditation, we'll go to the healing, we'll drink honey and lemon about 85 times a day, and then we will meditate. Come from? And it was just, I don't know, something I'm always drunk when I'm meditating. I don't know. People might know out there. And then so from that, I mean, I was just really, really regimented with it, and I just opened up super, super quick, and I didn't really understand it, what it was. And then in my room, a gentleman walked me up in the pitch black, and he just shouted my name. Nothing scary or anything like that, but just the energy from it. I knew the energy was different. I'd never felt it before. It was like when you hit your funny bone, and all my body was in tingles, everything.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
And I just knew. And that moment when you kind of, your mind is like, what is that? What is that? And then I just knocked everything off the side of my bedroom table, because I was scared of the unknown. As I was young, I was 16, and then I was like, nope, shut down, see you later. And then I went to work for Thompson's Holidays as a super family entertainer, all singing and dancing.
I can see that.
No, it was good. It made me grow up a bit. It did make me grow up. My first jobs, but then did that, but then came back, and then I walked past the shop in Ashton, and there was a music and meditation, and then I was like, shall I go back? And I just did. And then obviously started opening up again. And then the same thing happened exactly the same time. Guy woke me up in my bedroom. And then it was just, obviously got scared, and then I closed down again. And that's what I've kind of done. That's always been my pattern, is, you know, I'm kind of saying like, yep, I'm open, please come. And then when it happens, and then I'm like, go away. I'm too scared. But it's not being scared, because nothing bad's ever happened or anything like that. It was just that I didn't necessarily understand what it was, and I was opening up to the unknown. But then I knew, and I could feel what it was. So then I'd be like, no. So I mean, for me, that was a big thing. But I loved it, and I did love it, but it wasn't the right time for me. So I've always kind of kept my fingers in. And my uncle Kris, who I now know, he's a medium. He's in San Diego. So he used to go to the same Spiritualist churches that I went to, but I didn't know at the time. So that was a bit like, huh? That's funny, isn't it? But I'm Kris Meredith with a K. He's Kris Meredith with a C. With it, so it's all a bit weird within that. But it's been a joy for me to really kind of dip in and dip out. But I've had to do my normal jobs, get money and all that kind of stuff. I've always kind of kept my fingers in. I've always, you know, read my spiritual magazines, my books, everything like that. But kind of now I'm 32, and I feel that, you know, I know people like you, Claire. There's, you know, working at Psychic Today, I've met so many psychics and mediums.
Well, that's what I want to know about. Gosh, how did you even get in there? You know, because it's like, I'm looking back at your life thinking, look, you're supposed to be doing this. Look, you end up on Psychic Today.
It's just, well, that's it, Claire. Well, I mean, because so many people, I mean, with me, I mean, obviously the spiritual side has always been there, but my love for broadcast as well. It's people. I love people. I've always loved, you know, the connection with people, like people's stories. I love a good film when you're crying, you know, when things move me. I've always loved that. And the broadcast side, people's stories, that connection has been there as well. So there's always been spiritual and the broadcast. Then I was told probably about 4 or 5 years ago now that they would both come together. And I was like, huh? How is that
psychic
going to happen? Yeah.
And yay, of course you were.
I didn't know how. I didn't know how that was going to come together, and it did. And I went to uni. I retrained in broadcast TV and radio, and then from there, Psychic TV just contacted me out of the blue and just said, "Oh, we're looking for a new presenter. Are you interested?" I didn't think it was real. at the first time, so I didn't reply. And then when I had a bit free time, the email came again. And then obviously it was real to do my research, naughty boy. And then went for a screen test, passed that. And then, yeah, I've been there since last July. So it's great to do. It's great to present on, but just the fascinating people that I've met on the show, because obviously it is a TV show. It is for entertainment as well. You can't really delve in to the kind of conversations like we're having like now.
No.
Like I really want to know more about, you know, their journey, how they do what they do, because every single psychic and medium I've met, yes, you know, they do the psychic work, you know, that they connect, you know, with you know, the afterlife, but every single person does it differently. Not one person has done it the same at all. And that just like blows my mind. I just love it. So working with those and then getting told again and again and again that, you know, you should be in that booth, you know, you should be in a spiritist church, you know, you should be. And I'm kind of like, okay, I get the hint. I get the hint.
Well, you know what? The spirit world, they always get what they want, Kris. So they've been lining up their ducks. That's what I can see now. 32 seems to be a magic age for a lot of people. Your generation seem to all be sort of suddenly coming into the light work. And it seems to me that if you look back, just hearing your story, you've been getting that call in your whole life. And it's a bit like me, you know, I was told for 20 years that I should be writing books. And it's like, yeah, I you know, I failed English twice at school. I'm not going to be writing books. You know, these psychics have got it wrong. You know, naughty girl, slap wrist. But you know, it's the same thing. You can ignore that calling. You can ignore it for so long, and then all of a sudden, you just know, don't you? This is where I'm supposed to be. I mean, of all the jobs you could have been offered on TV, you know, psychic today. Yeah, exactly. You know.
I love it though, but I do like when you think of it like that, and you just kind of think like, because there's I think she's got Sonia Oscar, and she was just like, "Do you not get the hint yet?" And I was just like, what are you on about? And she was like, you're supposed to be doing this work. She said, keep your broadcast, that's there. But she said, you know, you're supposed to be doing this. And it's just kind of like, well, I know, but like one of my biggest things was like, how do I do it? How do I go from this to that? But that's one of those things where you've just got to trust, you know, and just work on it and, you know, do your meditation, which I absolutely love to do. And then, you know, just keep going with it and seeing where it goes, because I'm very open as a person and I'm very open spiritually as well. And like now more than ever, it's such an exciting time to be part of the community. I just love it so much. And it's brought me to amazing people like you, Claire.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's coming back at you, Kris. Mutual, you know, love society going on here. Crystal's saying you are shining, and Susanna says she's loving your story, and I just think it's just there's no such thing as coincidence, is there?
Thank you very much. No, there isn't. And I think, you know, like, you know, many people out there, there is, you know, not everything's always, you know, love and light. There is days when I'm like, oh, you know, you're worked up and you're stressed out and you might not have enough money and those kind of things. But it's that knowing of, you know, you've really got to trust yourself, and, you know, everything will work out the way it's meant to work out. And for me, I like having a plan, and I like sometimes to control the plan.
Oh, yeah.
Can't do that.
No,
you can't do that. And that's one thing for me personally, like when you do struggle, because you kind of like, okay, well, I want to do this, and, you know, I want to be on ITV at this age, and I want to be on a radio station at this age, and it's kind of like, no.
You know what comes to me as you're talking is the word allow. That is the word of the night. It's allowing spirit to lead you, isn't it? You can't always, I mean, we've got to have goals, we've got to have vision. I do believe in the law of attraction. I've seen it playing out in my own life, but I'm also aware of the fact that, like you say, sometimes you can try and control everything. My nan used to say to me, right, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And it stays with me, because I just think it's so true, isn't it? You know, we're busy in our heads going, I'm going to do this, and by this age I want to achieve that, and I want to be in a happy marriage, and I want to have had children, or whatever it is, you know, and I want to have the best job ever, and I want to have traveled the world, and you've got this like list, and then life happens somewhere in the middle of all that, and you're just like, what? You know, that's not what I had in my mind. And you zig and you zag. You know, like you know, you're coming into spirit and then going out of spirit, you know, having your jobs, working in a warehouse. All of this is kind of informing your journey.
Yeah.
So that now you can put it all together, and Spirit are like basically saying, Kris, now.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to have you on it, because I want people to go over to your channel. I want them to keep it spiritual. And your podcast is great because I know that you're stepping into your own power now. And whenever I see people doing that, I just want to give them a knee up, because not enough of us do. Not enough of us have the guts. That's what I want to say, to speak our truth, to go out in the world, to own the fact, the way you're just so open, and you talk about your spiritual experiences, and you talk about the spirit people that you've seen. Loads of people have those experiences. You know, part of my job is to try and help people understand they're not crazy. You know, because that's the first thing people always say. I'm not crazy, but you know they're not when they say that. And two, that, you know, many of us have encounters with after death communication, you know, and you're just owning it and you're just saying it. You got the ability just to say, do you know what, I'm interested in all of this, and I don't really care what the rest of the world think. I love my honey and lemon when I should be out, you know, drinking and getting drunk.
I still do.
But that's the thing. You're being authentic. That's what I love about you. You know, I got the
thing, Claire, as well. There's one thing within that, and you know, when you tell, you know, normal people, I would say not everyone's normal, but you know, when you just say, if I were just to tell my brother, you know, that I woke up in the middle of the night and there was a man standing beside my bed, my brother was like, what? But the thing is, everyone, and you and I, know your own truth. So you wouldn't lie to yourself. You don't make it up. You're not like, you know, middle of the night, or like, oh, I'm going to tell someone that someone woke me up. I mean, you know, what would that achieve? It just wouldn't. And that's the thing is, you know, trust in your own experiences, because, you know, no one has, you know, they might have similar experiences, but they don't have the same experience as you. So I think that's completely unique. You should own it, you know, and rock it, because that's what it's all about.
Oh my God, I love that. This is the why I love having conversations with you. It's just like, yes, Kris gets it. It's so me.
But this is what I always think life should be. And I think, you know, in you know, like I say about my dad, like my dad is a very, you know, man's man, and didn't want me to do anything like this, spiritual church or anything. But it's kind of, for me, it's like, okay, that's his opinion. That's fair enough. That's fine. But for me, this is what I want to do, and this is my opinion, and that's more important because this is my life. And you know, that can be easier than harder in some people's situations. I understand that, but the main thing is, and like you were saying before, you know, zigzagging, but that light's never gone out, and you never, you know, too young, too early, or anything like that, or too late even. So, you know, just that light is always there, and just, you know, make it your own.
Yeah, and I think if you don't, you see, you're not being true to yourself, and that's when you start to suffer with depression, or you're not, you know, this is it. I just think I just want more of us to be coming together, especially at this time now. You know, people that are seeking the truth, those who have got the truth and want to share it and speak out. And I just know that you'll be inspiring and motivating others, because, you know, a lot of feedback that I get is from people telling me, you know, that I'm a light in the world because I am brave enough to say I had these experiences and I've looked into it, and there is science behind it, you know, and we're not crazy, and we you know, we don't need to be in straitjackets because we've got these beliefs, you know. Actually, I was going to say to you, because you were talking about how people have experienced spirit differently and uniquely, and I think that's the thing. A lot of people kind of want a formula, and it doesn't work that way, you know, because we're dealing with the creative side, the thought consciousness. You I love that story you told me about Lorna Byrne, who, you know, for people out there, a lady was commenting today or yesterday on my page saying, do I know who Lorna Byrne is? And I was like, just how strange is that? For all of you out there who don't know who Lorna Byrne is, she wrote a fantastic book called Angels in My Hair. And this lady's Irish, and she sees angels, doesn't she? And you have that connection with her, don't you? So you met the most amazing people.
I mean, Lorna, I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, and the main thing is, what I absolutely love about Lorna is she's just a normal person. She could be a mum, she could be a sister, she could be your best friend. She speaks so quietly as well, because whenever I've interviewed Lorna, I spoke to her, like at the beginning of the interview, I'm like, hi, Lorna, how are you? And then at the end, I'm like, thank you so much, Lorna. And I'm kind of like to her vibration, because she's so relaxing and so calming, but she's so inspirational with her words and her teachings that she just brings so much light. And for me, for someone that sees angels every single day and works with their light, it's a beautiful way, you know, even just to read a book about angels and her life. Angels in my hair, angels at my fingertips. Those, I would say, the first two, if you want to have a look at Lorna Byrne, that's a really, really good place to start. But just her story. I mean, she's dyslexic as well, so she can't read and also she can't write. And she,
Wow.
you know, a £1 million worth author. It's been published in over 50 different languages. And one thing I love about that is that, yes, she's got that hidden disability, but she never let it stop her. And now look at that. She listened to that light inside. She listened to the angels. And, you know, look what can happen if you just open yourself up to it.
Oh my God, I so need this message, Kris. I mean, you're talking to me. You're literally talking to my soul, right? Never mind anyone else out there is paying attention. I'm like, yeah, this is it.
I'm like with you. I forget we're on a Facebook Live. I feel like we're just having a chat.
Well, we are. This is us. Everybody's seeing us for who we are, aren't we? Mandy Moo's saying you're a light. And Mandy Moo, I love that though.
Mandy Moo, that's cool.
I know. And Suzanne saying she's reading prayers from the heart at the moment. So is that Lorna Byrne, is it?
Yeah, well, prayers from the heart is like, I'd say it's like a modern day prayer book.
Right.
So whatever situation you're going through, you just flick through the book. That's one thing I love to do. And then you just pick the prayer and you take it with you. Just a very, very special lady. And she really is. But there's no ego. There's nothing there where there easily could be, you know, something like that. She's
with her success.
Big in the angel world, big in the angel world. But she is, and her team are all a family, and it's just beautiful. And there's Susie, who works with her, who's part of the charity, which is the Children's Foundation that Lorna has, and you know, she gives back massively as well, which is just beautiful to do. So if you can, you know, read a Lorna Byrne book, it's fabulous. So you can enjoy that. It's stunning.
And would you say, when you're meeting your guests and everything, what do you think you get from it? What how's it helping you now from all these different, because like you're saying, they've all got, you know, from unicorns to angels to me talking to the dead to, you know,
fairies, unicorns. I mean, the main reason why, I wanted to start, you know, the podcast and, you know, the YouTube show was because on Psychic Today, I do love it, but there's only so much you can talk about. And because of Ofcom and things, you can't even say medium or anything like that. I'll get in trouble if I was to say that. Yeah.
Really? Why is that?
It's, it was some Ofcom code. I just know I'm not allowed to say it.
No, that's fine. I just wonder, I almost think, you know, you kind of feel like mediumship's always being buried under the...
Well, that's what it kind of, you know, but I'm kind of like, I want to speak about this, you know, yes, they're psychics, but there's so much more than that. And that's why I really wanted to kind of, I was a bit like in university, I wanted to keep it spiritual, but my tutor was like, no, the markers won't get it. And so I had the idea there. And obviously then Psychic Today came, and then I was like, but I still can't really talk about what I want to talk about. So I was like, right, I'm going to set the podcast up. I'm going to do the YouTube show. And then we're just going to do it because I can say what I want, where I want, to who I want. And for me, the main thing was the education, because I'm not at the beginning of my journey, but I would say I'm kind of restarting again and learning with a different head, an older head, I would say. And I think, well, I want to learn, so other people will want to learn as well. And there's so many fascinating people out there. I mean, from yourself, Claire, but, you know, there's Karen Kay that works with fairies, of course, Lorna with her angels, and just so many people, but their journey is also inspiring. And that's one thing I love that I really connect with, is that, you know, it isn't just what you see now. It's, you know, the 25 years behind them of having no money, being homeless. And, you know, it's those kind of rocks that have made them into the diamond they are today. And for me,
that's so true.
That's so inspiring to bring people, you know, on Keep It Spiritual, you know, the podcast and the YouTube show, and just to show people, you know, these people have done it, but they can do it. We can do it, you know, and that's important. And for me, you know, talking about, you know, afterlife communication, talking about fairies, talking about angels, it should be on ITV, should be on Channel 4, should be on Channel 5. You know, this kind of talk should be normal, every single day kind of talk. It shouldn't be hush hush or whatever. I don't get that. No. It will change, because it
will change, because, you know, when I wrote Answers from Heaven, I was told, well, Teresa Chung and I, got to say, the lovely Teresa Chung, shout out to Teresa Chung, another afterlife, very successful afterlife author like Lorna. She, you know, when we wrote Answers from Heaven, we were told that it wouldn't be popular. you know, the mainstream aren't interested in afterlife books and spiritual books. It doesn't sell anymore. You know, that book is still sitting up there as a #1 bestseller on Amazon, selling thousands of copies across the world, been translated in other languages. I mean, how wrong could it be? You know, people need this. They need this message. And Kris, this is why what you're doing is so important and why I'm so grateful. You know, as an author that just has, I know what it's like to, you know, let me just put it out there. Lorna is the exception to the rule. Most people don't make £1 million. Most people are sitting in their little room for 18 months, 2 years, pouring their heart and soul into the pages to get it out there so that people can just feel better or be educated, you know, self-help books. And then to have somebody, you know, willing to champion you or to try and get your voice out there, what you're doing is so important, because we change lives. You're changing lives, because somebody might, you know, with my book, What the Dead Are Dying to Teach Us, I get all the time people contacting me saying to me, you know, this has been profound, you know, for whatever reason, you know, it's helped me have my own connection with spirit. It's helped me understand about my loved ones passing. It's helped give me peace about the fact that they died on their own, whatever it is, that it's having a positive effect on their lives. And I'm with you. Could you imagine if this was on mainstream TV? You know, I personally think, and I don't think that I'm like the most entertaining person. I don't have your bubbliness.
Yes, you
oh
do.
well, I'll
You
try.
That's fabulous.
I have the bubbliness, but maybe not the TV presenter ability. I don't know. But I just think that people just would be fascinated to know that their own experiences are being validated, that other people feel like they do. You know, we brush death under the carpet. It's not okay to be ill or dying or have these experiences, and you are changing lives. And to me, if you can use television in that way, that's like the positive way to use media.
Yep.
So, you know, don't stop what you're doing, because it is so important. I'm seeing Fiona Sutton saying, yes, if only this was taught in schools, how different would the world be? You know, so they're all talking about books and saying how fantastic they are. So that's, you know, how lovely is that?
It is lovely, but it's important though. I mean, Claire, I mean, what you're saying there, and I think, you know, a lot of people might hear about, you know, talk about, you know, 5D, the golden age, you know, things that are changing for the better. And I think, you know, things like, you know, the spiritual side of life, you know, people will talk about it more. People will feel more comfortable with it. And I really hope, you know, it will change. You know, it might not happen, you know, tomorrow, next week, but I think, you know, we're setting the foundation blocks right now. Many people, you know, that are watching, you know, around the world, that they're all lighting up themselves, you know, picking up, you know, your book, you know, What the Dead Are Dying to Teach Us, you know, what is it all about? I'm really interested. Even, you know, that one person is one more than yesterday.
Exactly.
So it's all going in the right direction. And, you know, I don't know where that's going to go, but I just know it's a positive place.
Yeah, and you're right. We are right on the crest of a wave at the minute. I feel like we're sort of climbing up, and it is about foundations. That word is just absolutely perfect, because I really feel like, for instance, my daughter's 13. You know, she is coming in at a level of understanding that I didn't have, because culturally it wasn't there. You know, when I was her age, it was about watching, you know, I don't know, Ghostbusters, or, you know, which is fantastic. And may I say, I've you know, had the privilege of speaking to Lloyd Auerbach, who's a parapsychologist in the States, and consulted on that film. I was like slightly starstruck. But just what an amazing man Lloyd Auerbach is. Can I just say, if anyone wants to know about parapsychology, ghost hunting, you know, the scientific side of this, go and find out his talks, because they're amazing. But you know, that was how I got my information. It was through, you know, Hollywood movies, and there wasn't even like Most Haunted or anything like that. It wasn't in the popular culture then. So my daughter at 13 is coming in. She's talking about the Illuminati. You know, she's talking about, I think, where'd she get that from? So they're coming in with a completely different level of, you know, what's the norm, aren't they, Kris? And so this is what I mean. You're young. We got to get the young people involved. I mean, I'm not old.
No,
you're making
not.
me feel.
No, you're not. You're not.
I'm just checking. No, I'm not getting old. I've decided.
That's
it. Yeah, exactly. We got to bring our use. My mum's saying people are waking up. Yes, they are. It's lovely that I keep seeing my mum, isn't it? It's like I've got one fan.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, Claire's mum. We always need our mum on our side. We always do.
My God, I'd be lost without her. So, Kris, I was going to say to you, you were saying to me when you were coming on, like you had some things you wanted to ask me about development, because you were talking about what were you wanting to ask? Any ideas?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, obviously where I am in my journey. So the way I look at development is through meditation. So that's the way I connect, and the way, through breathing techniques, really. And then I quickly kind of can go under in that lucid state. And then I see kind of like mists, colored mists, like purples, it can be greens. And then if I don't look at it, I'll see like little figures or shapes. But if I do, then I won't. And that's really, and like for me, is kind of as far as I'm kind of getting. My dreams are a bit everywhere at the moment, but as far as development, how can I take that further from that?
Oh my God, it's such a good question. You just basically asked. No, it is, because you just basically asked what so many people ask me. First of all, people say, I know I need to meditate and I'm finding it really difficult. And then the next thing is, when I am meditating, where do I go from there? Now, obviously, you've been exactly. And here's the thing. What I realize is that you can sit on your own and meditate, and you can be like a monk, and you can detach yourself from life, okay, and you have to take yourself off and go and do that and dedicate your life to it. And you might at some point, with constant spiritual practice, because that's why it's called that, it's a spiritual practice, you've got to keep doing it, you might suddenly have nirvana open up, or universal consciousness. But for most of us who are in everyday life, sitting there doing a meditation is absolutely the key that opens the door. But then there comes a point when you have to sit with other people, because it's the power of sitting with people where you feel that, this is what we were talking about earlier, that soul connection. When two of you, not to quote Jesus, but where two or more of me gather in my name, or two or more gather in my name. Do you know what I mean? It's that whole, it is the coming together and sitting in what mediums call sitting in the power. So after you are learning to meditate, then I would say, when you've got that down and you're starting to see things, you really want to either try and find like-minded friends that you can do that with, because then you can maybe see if you pick up for each other, and then you can, say to each other, I've just experienced this or seen this. Does this make any sense to you? Or depending on how far you want to take it, that's when you go and find a circle or a teacher, medium, practitioner, someone who can then help you when you sit in meditation to then open out and expand even more. Because you can't very well sit there and do psychic exercises on your own. You can, but who are you going to do it for? Maybe what you could do is get a pack of cards or something, and have the guts to practice on a friend and go with your intuition. That's something you could do at home and in isolation. Put your cards out, and just say, I've picked these 3 cards for you. Class it as past, present, future, whatever. What do they mean to me for this person? And the stage past meditating is then going into your own feelings and learning to get beyond thought, going with the first thought that comes in your mind. As you look at those cards, what am I feeling, what am I sensing, and saying it, and having the guts to say it. The other thing,
I suppose, are not changing that, I suppose, because I suppose that's where we've got our own voice in our mind, but then obviously letting spirit come into that space as well. So how do we know the difference between our own mind and spirit?
Well, that's the trick. So what happens is, at first your mind and spirit are there. So you may well get clear, get into a meditative state, ask your spirit loved ones or guides to come close, say, I'd like to do this reading for, or practice on, whoever it is, Nan, or whoever you've got who's willing. And then you go with the first thing that's in your mind that comes in. So it's like a download. All I can say is you invite them close, and then you go with the first thing. So it's like an insight, a download, an instant knowing, or you may feel it. So sometimes it's from the feel. I'm going from the gut here. It's what you feel, sometimes more than what you see. You have to just say it, And then over time, what happens is your mind learns to go quiet and get out the way, and spirit can come in closer and closer. So for the, it's unrealistic to think when you first start that you won't have some of you in it and some of them. So you don't know that you've made it up, but you have to just go with that process of just going with the first thing that comes in, and then there's a flow that begins to happen. So the next thing comes and the next thing comes. Now I'm trying to that sounds easy. It isn't easy. But that's kind of the next stage. Once you've got the meditation down, is then having the guts to try something. You can use ribbons. You could do, and also the other thing you could do is work on your dreams. Keep a dream journal. Have you ever done that?
I've not, no, but because I keep speaking about Wales, I'm dreaming of, last night I dreamed that I went to, it was near the sea, it was in Wales, it was in some lady's house, the weather weren't great, but I just remember there was some guy that was stood there, hair similar to me, so I don't know if it was me watching myself, but he was just watching me walk up into the lady's house near the sea. And this morning when I woke up, I was like, yep, I'm really missing Wales. Well, to me, you know what I mean? That kind of means, because there's just something, obviously, about the sea and all that kind of stuff with me. And I just kind of think, but that could mean other things as well, because it was stormy, the sea was choppy. Am I worried at the moment? Am I getting worked up? And, it's kind of looking at it in different things like that, isn't it?
Exactly. So that's it. You would jot that down. Now, in time, what you can do is before you go to sleep, say to your spirit guides, could you come and give me some insight in my dreams? So allow me to remember them, and then jot them down the next day. And you see, this is what I'm talking about. It's that ability to just allow yourself to explore, to feel, to sense, and to just go with your mind and trust it. When I was learning, I used to say to my teacher, how do I know I'm not making this up? And she used to say, congratulations, you are. At the end of the day, you're in the realms of consciousness. It's like I explained earlier, isn't it? We're in a physical reality, then we've got the mental, spiritual, or what your Greeks called psychic, and then we got soul, source. So you are going to feel like you're making it up, but over time, and keep going with the meditation, Kris, over time you will see or get information that you didn't know cropping in. You'll hear a name, you'll see someone, you'll see a guide, you'll see something happen that hang on a minute, that wasn't me. And then I always go away and Google it, look it up.
That's a good thing to do is, when you get that, and I suppose then it is kind of like you're saying, follow it up. So then it is a bit more than just, you forget about it, or, because so many things, I always think like, when you kick yourself, or like say you'll get like an answer in your head to something and you're like, I didn't know that. How did I know that? But then you're like, I wish I would have said that because I knew that.
Exactly.
But it's that voice, and I know it, and I'm sure, many people out there do as well, but it's that trust that you say, it's, having that, self-confidence in yourself, I suppose, first of all, because you are kind of putting yourself, on the line, and, you're opening yourself up, you're being vulnerable, because that's the way I kind of am, because you are really opening yourself up spiritually, and it is kind of trusting within that. But I know it's real. Everyone that's watching knows it's real, but it is sometimes difficult to do.
It is. And that's why the next stage along, when you find a circle, you find a group of people to develop with, you need to find people, bit like you and me, who are on the same page, like you said earlier, same frequency, who you can be yourself with, that you can be vulnerable in front of, because actually you are kind of you're laying yourself out bare. It's your mental health as much as anything. I mean, it can be the most rewarding thing, but you are constantly checking, have I made this up? Is it wishful thinking? Or you need people that are going to be really sympathetic to the fact that you are going to stumble and fall and say some things that might be imagination sometimes, and other times you're going to be in contact with spirit, and that's going to be really emotional. You're not going to want somebody sitting there going, oh, what a load of rubbish. You need people that are going to nurture you and encourage you, and ego comes into it, and some people get jealous, they want to hold you back, they see you're doing well, whatever, they don't want to help you along. So you're right, spirituality is being vulnerable, isn't it?
It is, and I think that's it, and it's a lot, of us as well. It is a lot, it's your emotions, it's your mental health at times. It's a lot more than just doing a little reading for someone. You are a
Exactly.
vessel. You really are. And it is a life way, I think. And like for me, when you say before about zigzagging, and all the things I've done in my life are foundations and building blocks to make me be better in my spiritual work, in what I'm meant to do. And it's very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to it. But obviously, I know I'm not there yet. And it's all about learning and educating myself as well, which it will be for many people out there.
And what about the day then, Kris, when you're presenting, you've got your show, and you're actually hearing spirit or channeling them or bringing them close or seeing angels? Can you see that?
Yeah,
I mean,
of course I can. But for me, that's a magical life. And of course, you've got to get in there living near the sea as well. That's what I want.
Absolutely. Yeah, you'll have your studio by the sea.
It is. I mean, I sometimes think, the live TV aspect for me, it is live. There's no one else. There's me. I have my book. There's a producer in my ear, but they're not really they don't tell me what to say. And obviously, and then when we are in the studio, we interview, psychics, see what they do, and then they go on the phone calls. But at the end of the day, the book stops with me. If it goes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's it, and that you've got to be able to perform in that way. And it's the best training I could ever have had, even if I wasn't, interested in the spiritual world, that kind of training for me is perfect, for my character, for my confidence. Things do go wrong. Of course they do. The studio's lights have blown up and it's, and I'm just kind of there like, okay, but things happen. It's just the way that it is. But for me, and the kind of work I want to do spiritually, it's perfect because it's all about building, myself personally, into my journey. And hopefully, it'll help support many, many other people, because that's what I love. Love people, love you, love your spirit. And for you to be happy, to be people watching this, to be happy and enlightened, that's what I've always loved to do. When I used to work in Selfridges, I used to work on creme, and I loved that job because I got to sit down with people and speak to them and connect with them. That's what I love to do. And that's the same thing here. That for me has never changed. Whatever job I've done, it's always with people. It's always about connecting. And that's everything for me.
That's what I love about you. That's it. This is why you're a light worker. You're here to hold the light. That is your purpose. You are holding the light for others so that they can see it within themselves. Yeah. And you're going to do it through broadcasting. I'm reading on here, like Jacqueline Gardner saying, I trust in spirit, I speak all the time, use the intuition. Fiona Sutton saying it's a magical life if only people knew how magical. Isn't that lovely?
That's beautiful. And it is magical. And you know that. And we do know that. And it will be magical. And I think, what we're going through at the moment, remember that. Hold on to it, because it will be. And it is. And it is, because we all feel it. It really, really is. When you have those, connections. When I look back, like when I was younger, and, the gentleman who I think it was my mum's dad who woke me up very softly. But obviously I was very, very scared. And I knew that probably took a lot of energy for him to, come forward in kind of, form. But those memories for me, they're that gold, because it's kind of like that was very special for me. And, I want to get back to that point, and I really do. And I will do. And I won't shut him off this time. That's the thing. But it just wasn't the right time. But it was magical when I look back on it. It really, really was. It was a golden moment.
When you think about it, there's so many people on my page that have lost loved ones. There's parents that have lost children. There's, spouses that have lost their life partners and everything. And they're just wishing they had that experience that you had, Kris. They'd give their right arm to know that life goes on. So you just saying that and you just describing what had happened to you is giving someone hope. And this is the crux of it all. This is why it's so important. And I hope that you do. If any way I can help you some way, kind of get in touch, develop that spiritual side. I mean, you're doing it anyway, you're doing it naturally, and I know spirit are guiding you where you want to go. But if you ever need me, or if you want to ask any questions, or just to bring spirit in closer or whatever, I'm sure everybody's saying it to you that meets you. I'm sure everyone likes you. How can they not? But I'm just letting you know, because I just think that it's so important that we come together right now and that we take this message out. And, you know, I can't thank you enough for coming on here. I'm just looking at the time. Do you know, we've been talking for an hour. Where's that gone? Yeah, it's 8:30. And I just think, yeah, I know. I mean, I'm
15, 20 minutes. We did say as well, we're probably going to be on here till about 10:30 and no one will be watching.
Yeah, no, that's it. The thing is, when you know, we're interested in what we're saying, so time will just disappear.
But it has.
I'm just wondering if anybody has any questions to ask you. I'm just seeing if it comes up before we finish. I'll just give people a couple of minutes to see if there's anything they wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Christine Byrne is saying, I have seen my uncle. Absolutely amazing. You know, so Jacqueline Gold is saying, I love White Feather. Claire, your book is amazing. Oh, thank you for mentioning White Feather. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that really resonates with me, you know, because I just think what the help that I have had, talk about a magical life, the help that I have had from the unseen realms. If everybody could know that they have that help too, Kris, you know, like with Lorna's work, you know, she's got the angels, I've got the spirit guardians and guides talking to me. It's all light beings.
It is light. It doesn't matter if it's angels or your spirit guides, you know, it's all the same. It's lights, and that's it.
That's it, exactly. And then you and I, we're bringing that light into the world and we're passing that on, you know. What more can there be? I can't see, I don't know if it's my Facebook's being slow because the, you know, comments come up quite slowly sometimes on there. I can't see any questions right now, so I'm just conscious of time. I'm sure there is. Someone saying, what is the best form of meditation for you both?
Ooh.
And do you have a particular archangel like that guide, or do we have a particular archangel that guides us? That's by Lorna Gray, not Lorna Burns, Lorna Gray.
Lorna Gray, love that.
And oh, lovely. Liz is saying, Liz is in my development group. She is saying lovely energy between you two. Isn't that lovely?
Oh, thank you.
And Mandy's saying it's just lovely to hear about your journey. You see, this is the thing. I think people are learning just listening, aren't they? Yeah. Lovely to hear your story. So hope you achieve all you want to. You know, so, and can departed animals visit us in dreams? So that's 3 questions there. Do we have a particular archangel? I don't think so. I think we have what we need. What do you think?
I mean, I just say, I just call my spiritual team.
Yeah, I love that.
That's the way I do it. It's the quickest way. You know, some people might, you know, have names and all that kind of stuff. But I just always think, you know, when you go into that meditative state, I just say, will you come close? And that's when you do feel, you know, you like people playing with your hair and you'll feel and bits and bobs and you will feel that. So I always think, you know, you might be needing, you know, maybe a different guide at that moment or, you know, a different angel. So just say your spiritual team come forward. And for me, that's always kind of works. And I think it's kind of like a speed dial way of doing it.
And what meditation practice do you use? I love that speed dial. Yeah, it's like, yeah, rather than name you all, I just say spiritual team, yay team. I call them my A team.
I love that. That's a good way, Claire. And then meditation for me, I just find just relaxing music, not guided, and then it's that breathing technique. So it's just that, you know, breathe in and then obviously keep it for usually about 3 seconds and then out through my mouth. And then I do that, and that really slows myself down, my breathing down, and I can do that quite quickly now, but that's because I've done it, you know, over the years so many times. And then as soon as I do that, that's when I'll start to see that the misty colors. But the more I do the breathing, the more kind of intense the color gets with it.
Oh, that's pulling the prana, isn't it? That's the life force coming up, because you're using the breath and you're seeing, it's opening up the brow chakra, you're seeing stuff. Love it. You're stimulating the pineal gland. Well done. I mean, I might do it through visualization. I might do it through breath, or I play a piece of music and I just focus, literally just let my mind sit on the music. If the thoughts come in, I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to get hung up on that. Let it go. Just go back to the music. It's all about the stillness, isn't it? And then setting the intention, basically. I'm ready to receive. And with regards to animals, because you obviously have your lovely bird.
I do.
We do know, don't we, that the animals go on to and that we can see them in dreams. Definitely.
Of course you can. And I think, you know, animals are with us and have that, you know, that strong bond and that strong connection. You know, they're not going once they pass over. See you later. You know, they're going to want to still be with you. They're still going to want to help you. And I think, you know, even, you know, Bert in this life with me, that the connection he's got with me, he knows me better than I know myself.
Yeah. You know, I think our dogs and our pets are our soulmates. I think they choose us, just like, you know, like people say your children choose you. I am sure that your pets know they're coming to you. You know, it's a soul bond. It's a soul bond because it's consciousness, it's spirit. It's, you know, of course they live on. Of course they do.
They really do. They really, well, with Bert, I mean, because obviously, you know, Bert's real name his kennel name is Roberto.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I knew from being about 16 or 17, I wanted a Westie and I wanted him called Bert. And when we went to have a look for dogs, my partner Paul was like, nope, not having a dog, anything like that. And then I thought, what's the next best thing to get a dog? I thought I'll try and get my mum to get one. And then we went looking around for some dogs and they weren't the ones. And then we just went to a place in Manchester and then there was Bert by himself in kennel 39. And I got him out and Paul was like, put him back now, put him back. We're going. And then we went back on the Sunday. Paul rang me and he was like, do you want to go and look at Bert? I was like, what? My mum was like, you're going to get him. And I was like, I don't know. We're just going to go. So we went and we got him. And the lady that was doing all the paperwork, she was like, what are you going to call him? And I said, Bert. She went, have you seen his name yet? I said, no. She said, he's called Roberto. And she said, it must be meant to be. And, you know, and I think that, and it is. And, you know, he's got me wrapped around his little finger and he knows everything. But he knows inside, you know, more than just any animal or any dog would. So, you know, 100% they will still be with you. You better be.
No, they are. I have seen them. I've even seen snakes, Kris. I did a reading once where I saw a snake and I knew the snake was called Pete. I mean, how crazy is that? And the lady said, and the lady receiving the message, she's like, my brother's snake was called Pete, you know, and it's not long died. I'm like, wow, God, if a snake can carry on, we can, can't we?
Yeah,
that would be great. Let's do YouTube.
Cool to do.
Let's tell everyone on here, Facebook, get yourself over to YouTube Live when we do that. We'll let them know. And then, you know, we'll carry on the conversation over there. I would love to do that.
That'd be really cool to do. Didn't even think about that, Claire.
No, because, you know, the good thing about that is YouTube will then keep the video, whereas Facebook, this won't allow me now to share the video in the same way. So, yeah, we should definitely do that.
We will do that.
You stay on. We'll have to say goodbye to everybody, I think, now. So let me, guys. Just before you do, Kris. How do people find you?
Oh, they can find me on Twitter, at Kris C Meredith on there, or for the Keep It Spiritual, it's just Keep It Spirit Pod on Twitter or Instagram, or on YouTube as well. It's just Keep It Spiritual, and it's also on a podcast as well. So it's available on all podcast platforms and Alexa as well. So it's everywhere really. So either Kris Meredith or Keep It Spiritual, you'll find me somewhere.
Yes, go and find Kris. And everybody, thank you so much for joining me here at Facebook Live. You know how much I absolutely love my community here. Your comments, I will come back to you. I hope you've enjoyed Kris and I this evening, because we have.
I've loved it. It's been amazing.
The light clash. Yeah, the light clash. Let's do that again.
We will. Big time.
Right. Well, I'm going to say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Lovely to meet you all as well.
Yeah.